This is Deinosuchus. This enormous reptile was the largest crocodile to ever live on our planet, growing to over 26 feet long and weighing over 2 tons. It lived in what is now North America about 80 million years ago, during the height of the Cretaceous period. Its name means terrible crocodile, and it really lived up to this name. There are many theories out there on just how big this crocodile grew, and we don't know exactly how accurate they are. But these theories have made some scientists estimate that Deinosuchus could grow even bigger than 30 feet long. Just imagine such a monster attacking you while you're swimming in the water. This would be a real nightmare. So today, we'll find out what life was like for Deinosuchus and how it became the king of all crocodiles. Let's get started. In order to understand who Deinosuchus was, we need to go back to the beginning. The dinosaur story began in the Cretaceous period, which lasted from about 145 to 65 million years ago. In fact, when the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs hit the Earth, the continent that is now the United States was split in half. The eastern part was named Appalachia, and the western part was called Sesamoids. It was here in the west that the Terribilis lived. Also, at that time, the territory was heavily swamped and shallow seas covered most of the land. This led to the formation of large brackish lakes where fresh water mixed with salt water from the ocean. These lakes were full of fish, crustaceans, and other aquatic animals. And it was this abundance of food that allowed crocodiles to reach gigantic proportions, and Deinosuchus was no exception. The Deinosuchus was a predator, so it spent almost all of its time hunting. It chased after fish, turtles, shellfish, and any other animal that entered its territory. If anything tried to take a bite out of its prey, it easily broke through the shells of turtles or the armor of other reptiles. The dinosaur's teeth were designed specifically for catching and tearing apart prey. They were conical and serrated like a shark's teeth. The only thing a dinosaur couldn't handle was thick-skinned sauropods like ink. Their skin was literally as hard as stone, and the dinosaur's teeth were unable to break it through. However, this didn't upset the dinosaur at all. It was quite happy with smaller prey. It also regularly fought battles with other large predators that also inhabited the waters of the Cretaceous, such as mosasaurs. Mosasaurs were marine reptiles that had a huge head and mouth full of sharp teeth, a long neck, and powerful limbs that were perfect for swimming. Some species of mosasaurs grew up to 55 feet long and weighed over 70,000 pounds. That's the size of a school bus. Despite their impressive size, mosasaurs were excellent swimmers and could easily overpower a dinosaur. It was thanks to them that Deinosuchus preferred to stay close to the shore where there were fewer of these monsters. But still, sometimes the crocodiles simply had to meet them in the middle. After all, both of them were predators and they had to fight for their place under the sun. Battles between a mosasaurus and a Deinosuchus must have been truly epic. Imagine two giant monsters crashing into each other in the shallows, splashing water everywhere and sending birds flapping away in terror. The winner of such a battle most likely was the mosasaur, but if the Deinosuchus managed to inflict serious damage on its opponent, it would be very difficult for the mosasaur to swallow it because of its solid jaws. Therefore, in case of injury, it would have to float to the surface and die. The Deinosuchus, on the other hand, would happily feast on the remains of its opponent. But mosasaurs weren't the only animals Deinosuchus had to fight. It also often came into conflict with sharks. But unlike mosasaurs, sharks still live on our planet. Perhaps you've even seen them somewhere in aquariums. Sharks evolved much earlier than dinosaurs, about 100 million years before them, and they appeared in the oceans long before the first dinosaurs appeared on Earth. Throughout the reign of dinosaurs, sharks remained the most successful and numerous creatures on the planet. When the asteroid struck, more than 90% of all marine and terrestrial life disappeared, but sharks survived. To this day, there are about 500 species of them, and they continue to dominate our oceans. Dinosaurs, meanwhile, went extinct about 66 million years ago, but no one knows for sure why this happened. Some scientists believe that sharks also caused trouble for dinosaurs. If an ordinary megalodon could grow up to 70 feet long, what can we say about a whole pack of them? With their sharp teeth, they could easily tear apart a dinosaur's corpse and prevent it from getting to its prey. Scientists assume that sharks hunted in packs in order to get to larger prey. Packs of sharks followed dinosaurs while they were hunting and stole their prey right from under their noses. Of course, the dinosaurs didn't put up with this situation and tried to defend their prey. Thus, bloody battles took place between them and the sharks. Another contender for the title of the dinosaur's opponent was the prehistoric whale. Whales are mammals, but their ancestors were marine reptiles. Over millions of years, they adapted to life in the water and eventually turned into whales. Interestingly, they still bear some resemblance to lizards. This is because whales are direct descendants of terrestrial vertebrates. Unlike dinosaurs, whales gave birth to live young and fed them milk. These features distinguished them from other aquatic animals, including marine reptiles. The latter reproduced by laying eggs. Prehistoric whales grew to enormous sizes, reaching over 55 feet in length. They also had huge jaws and dozens of teeth. Most likely, they used them to catch fish, but sometimes they also attacked dinosaurs. A hungry whale could easily drown a dinosaur in water and then eat its meat along with its bones. Therefore, it was better for the crocodile to keep away from such opponents. But perhaps the main opponent of the dinosaur was another giant crocodile. He was called Deinosuchus. This crocodile lived in the same territory as the dinosaur. At first, these crocodiles lived peacefully side by side. However, over time, the Deinosuchus began to grow faster and soon became the main predator in the region. This led to the fact that he and the dinosaur began to compete for territory and prey. The Deinosuchus was smaller than the dinosaur. It grew up to 23 feet long and weighed about 1.5 tons. Its main advantage was its speed. The Deinosuchus could easily catch up with and overpower the dinosaur. There's also an opinion that the Deinosuchus actually hunted the dinosaurs. He attacked them on the shore, trying to drag them into the water. Then the dinosaur was doomed. After all, it simply couldn't move quickly enough in the water. In this case, the Deinosuchus had only one rival, and that was the Deinosuchus. The battle between these two giants must have been something like a fight between two sumo wrestlers. They slammed into each other, trying to push their opponent off balance. Each blow sent huge splashes flying through the air and water. It was a real test of strength. The fight could go on for hours until one of the rivals simply got tired and retreated. Most likely, the winner of such a duel was the Deinosuchus. After all, it was simply physically stronger than the Deinosuchus. However, the dinosaur's dominance didn't last long. About 66 million years ago, the asteroid that destroyed the dinosaurs fell to Earth. Huge numbers of dinosaurs and other creatures died. Soon, the Earth was completely covered with their corpses. But the dinosaur wasn't among them. Its fossil remains haven't been found yet. It's possible that it simply died before the asteroid hit and its remains decomposed in the mud. Or maybe it was the asteroid impact itself that destroyed the dinosaur. But this is only speculation. The truth is that the remains of this ancient reptile were never found. It's a real shame for science. After all, the dinosaur could have died along with the asteroid impact. In this case, its remains would have been inside the meteorite. But so far, no one has found any evidence of this. Some scientists think that the dinosaur continued to exist for several million years after the impact and eventually died out on its own. However, this is only speculation. The dinosaur is gone forever, and we'll probably never know exactly how it died. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And that's all for today. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more content. See you later.